Hey everybody. Hey, it's Tom here, Tom Part, and I'm just here with my mate Mitchell Burns. We've met online and been friends on Facebook for ages, but first time we've actually met up, which is awesome. So he just gave me a bell and we're going to head out on the road and shoot something down the Mornington Peninsula perhaps. Beautiful day here, Anzac Day. It's nice and sunny, a little bit of a breeze, nice and still actually this time of year, so it's a perfect time to be shooting. I reckon it's the best time of year to be shooting anywhere here in Melbourne. The autumn colours, you know, coming into a lot of the trees. It's the time of year to be up at Bright. For those down in Tassie, they're all out shooting the Fagus this week because it's Fagus week. So yeah, there's lots to be done, and Mitchell, we'll have a chat with him and find out what he's all about, and probably let him tell the story rather than me. So g'day Mitch, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming down. And so tell us what you do besides take great photographs.
Day job is in mining, so
yeah,
pretty much it.
Don't be shy, man. Just, you know, let everyone hear.
You're just a natural.
Go on.
Yeah, no, day job's in the mining, so
yep.
I work week on, week off.
Right.
Which is perfect, you know, for my passion.
I reckon.
Taking photos.
So you only work 26 weeks of the year?
I work half a year.
God, that's sounding like me, isn't it?
You work less than that, don't you?
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so just on my days off, come down here for a look, and
yeah,
the aim was to shoot autumn colour, but
yeah, it's a bit late this year for some reason. It's only just started to get a bit colder here in Melbourne, and I think the autumn colour seems to get set off by the cooler nights, and we've only just started to get those in the past week or so. So everything seems a bit late. But so tell me, you're based in where? Where are you based out of?
Live in Cairns.
Yep.
So yeah,
Peter Lick country, man.
Peter Lick.
You've got the look of Peter Lick, man.
Mate.
The beanie and, you know, the guns and everything else, man.
The hat, the cowboy hat. That's what I miss.
Well, all that in time, mate. You've got to earn that.
You got to earn your stripes.
And so, how long you lived in Cairns for?
Well, I grew up there.
All right.
But I moved away, and then 2.5 years ago, I moved back when I got this job. It's a fly in, fly out job. So live in Cairns and work down in central Queensland.
So what's your sort of background? Have you got a degree in anything in particular, or have you got any qualification in mining or anything like that?
No, I don't have a trade or anything. So.
Right. And so mining for you is just simply a means to an end, without being too condescending?
It just pays for my passion.
Right. So your passion is photography?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I spend all my money on.
Right. Sounds like me. Although I still spend my money on all that. So how old are you?
24.
24.
Yeah.
How long ago did you get interested in, you know, panoramic landscape photography, which is what you're known for?
Probably 5 years ago.
Right.
So. But yeah, I really got serious only a couple of years ago.
Right.
That's when I upgraded all my equipment, and I had a goal, and I have a goal.
Yeah. So what is that goal?
I want a gallery in 5 years, pretty much.
Right. 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm 25 this year.
Yeah.
30, I want to be making a living off photography.
Yeah.
You know.
So why 5 years? Why not sooner?
Well, I mean, if it's sooner, I just thought 5 years was realistic.
Yeah. So what are the steps involved for you to be able to achieve that goal from here on in?
I don't know. That's a bit unknown for me. So,
right.
I need to ask a few people and get a bit of knowledge on what steps they took and when they knew it was the right time.
Well, I think you have to wait 20 years, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But don't wait that long.
No.
I probably just got sidetracked doing other things.
Yeah, of course.
But just while we're chatting, just move that microphone up just about an inch or so, and I reckon that'll be better for us as well.
Righto.
Just pulling our people away here. Yeah, that's good.
That's probably better.
Yeah, cool, man. So I guess the steps you need to put in place in order for that to happen is obviously collecting a suitable number of images.
That's right, yeah.
But I reckon you've got all that already. Like even if you had enough from where you live around Cairns, you've got heaps, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a few. I wouldn't say heaps, but I still feel like I need to get a bit more variety. I don't have much reef stuff.
Yep.
you know, and that's just having all that combined with just, you know.
I think the gallery thing, just to put my 2 cents worth in, is a bit like people who say they need a better camera in order to take, you know, to be a professional photographer, or I just, once I have a better camera, I'll start taking better photos.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a bit of a myth. I mean, when you think about it, when you're wanting to start a gallery, right, you're not going to have 100 square meters to play with. You're probably going to have, you know, 30 or 50 square meters to play with, which isn't a lot. And you think to yourself, well, do I want to sell small prints or big prints? I'm a big print person, so for 50 square meters, you're going to probably need, like, you know, less than 10 prints in order to fill that space, right? And when you think about it that way, you say, well, 10 prints isn't a lot.
That's right.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I've seen your work online. So for those who are watching at home, how would they find you? So
my website's just mitchellburns.com.au.
mitchellburns.com.au.
Yeah.
And you're also on Facebook?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page. It goes all right. And on Instagram, just as Mitchell Burns Gallery.
Mitchell Burns Gallery, and I'll find you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you'll know Mitchell's Instagram because he does 3 pictures across the grid in order to show off one photo.
Yeah,
so you're always doing a triptych.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It just looks better, I reckon.
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It certainly looks good when you're posting all your shots. And panoramic landscape photography is your passion.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
I honestly can't really remember. I think Peter Lick was, you know, the first. You know, that's how I got introduced, and then from there I just Googled panoramic Australian landscape photographer
and I came up.
And then you came up.
I came up.
Top of the page.
And then I came up again. No, I wish. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, this is how often we find each other, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you just Google and then you find somebody who's
yeah.
shooting great stuff, and there's probably a bit of the whole mutual admiration society that goes on, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, we all tend to pat each other on the back or on the bum or whatever, you know, takes your fancy. But all right, so you got into that, and so you've now you shoot whenever you can.
Yeah, I shoot. That's all I do on my days off.
That's all you do.
Well, I try to do, you know. Like,
besides going out with that gorgeous girl of yours, and you know, eating and drinking far more than what I do. You guys seem to have the life.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, you just upgraded your camera, and so what were you shooting on before, and what have you got now?
I was using a Nikon.
Yep.
The D800.
Yeah, that's a nice kit.
Yeah.
And you're obviously doing a lot of stitching for that, or everything?
Actually, I never really stitched on that.
So you were cropping through the middle to get your pano stuff?
I wasn't even shooting panos then, actually.
Right.
It was only... I did shoot a couple of stitches, but it was when I upgraded to what I shoot now, which is I got the GFX Fuji.
Yep.
The medium format.
The mirrorless medium format. Yeah.
That's a beast of a camera, and I got 3 lenses now, and I got a dedicated panorama stitching head.
Yep.
The Really Right Stuff make that.
Yeah. And that's the sort of traditional one that they have always had, right?
Yeah, and I mean, people say you don't need all that fancy gimbal and all that.
Yep.
But I find it works a lot better, and it's just quick.
Yep.
And easy.
Yeah, right. So how are you stitching your photos together?
I usually shoot 4 images, just a horizontal stitch. I don't shoot in vertical.
Right.
I just find there's too many shots involved. And
yep.
And
so 4 horizontal pictures.
Yep. At about 36 millimeters or 35.
Right. That's the lens you're using on the Fuji.
On the Fuji, it's a 45 mm.
But it's equivalent of say 36. So it's not ultra wide, is it?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
And go on.
Yeah, I just find that stitching 4 of them frames together gives me a nice, almost 3-to-1 ratio straight out of the thing.
And you're overlapping by how much?
Probably 30%.
Just
40, I don't know. I don't really...
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And what software are you using to stitch those together?
Camera Raw is pretty good.
Right, so in Adobe Photoshop. Yeah.
So I use Camera Raw, or I'll actually sometimes just use the stitching software in Photoshop itself.
Right.
Or I find for a lot of coastal stuff to keep your everything in, you know, perspective.
Yep.
PT GUI is probably good for that too.
I find the interface of PT GUI really clumsy, and I've never really got to know it.
It is pretty. I don't know.
It's one of those things that once you sort of you get to know how it works, and you get perhaps shown how to use it.
I don't go into like the whole manually finding your points and stuff. I just use auto mode.
You just,
and it works fine.
Right. Okay. Yep. So is that sort of a fallback position? If it doesn't stitch well in Photoshop, you'll stitch it in PT GUI?
Yeah. Right. More or less.
Yep. Yeah. I find that I'm the same, although I tend to use Adobe Lightroom now, given that.
But I like that distortion correction that you got.
The auto blend. Yes. Yeah, so it's got the slider. Yeah. It works really well.
And it just fixes the corners.
It does. Yeah, it works brilliantly like that, because you've got obviously the white around the border from the distortion on the lens, and then you slide that slider across and it just gets rid of it.
Perfect.
Most of the time it's perfect, although I did notice I slapped a photograph up on my Facebook page the other day that of the Ryanaka rocks in Kangaroo Island, and of course there's horizon just over on the edges here, and the horizon just went like that, which looked horrible. So I just had to fix that up, but other than that, it's pretty easy to stitch these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you still like using that setup where you've got the really right stuff.
Yeah. I just find it easy, and with that, because it's got this 2-axis or something, your horizon's not stuck in the middle. Whereas if you just had it on a ball head, your horizon's sort of set in the middle. You can't tilt the camera down or up.
Got it. Is that a heavy sort of setup, that, or not?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not too bad.
Right.
So.
And what was I going to say? Are you rotating around the nodal point for that?
Yeah.
And how are you estimating? Are you measuring that, or are you just estimating it?
No, I measured it.
Oh, you've measured it on your lens, on each lens.
Yep.
So you have it marked on the instrument where it needs to be.
I just got it noted in my phone.
Right.
But
you've got all the measurements set up, so you just adjust.
Well, there's only two lenses that I sort of stitched with, and
Is the nodal point, for those watching at home, the nodal point is the optical center of the lens.
Yeah, and it's where the light comes in and splits or something.
And where it comes in and then diffracts back out again. So tell me, is that not? It's not the center of the lens from front to back. It's not necessarily, dividing the length of the lens in half.
No.
Right.
Oh, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that I did go on a workshop many years ago, and they showed us how to find the nodal point, but I've never practiced that technique that you're doing, so I've forgotten all that.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. The way I do it, and is you pretty much you got to line two things up.
Yep.
I use the corner of a door and something else. And you just use live view.
Yes.
And slowly move the camera, and then you move the screen sideways, and you can see if the background's moving separate to the foreground.
Correct. Yes. If you've got 2 points lined up, what they should do is, no matter whether you rotate left or right, they're always lined behind each other. And correct. Right.
So
awesome.
I mean, and I have no dramas getting. Sometimes you get horizon breaks in your stitching, and the horizon doesn't meet up properly. And I don't get any of that. So.
Right. Regardless of where the horizon's positioned, top or bottom.
It seems to work.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
that's great.
Yeah.
And so tell me, where have you been this year already? So you were just in Karijini?
Yeah, well that was my first trip for this year, pretty much. Yeah, Karijini.
Right. Okay.
Apart from that, just around Cairns.
and have you got some favourite spots in Cairns that you'd like to go?
Favourite beach, hands down, is Clifton.
Clifton Beach.
Yeah.
Which is where in relation to Cairns? It's to the north?
Yep, northern beaches, and it's, so if you head north, say to Palm Cove, everyone goes to Palm Cove, it's the beach just before that.
Right.
So...
Okay, so it's the beach. Let's not tell everyone about that, otherwise they'll all be there.
They're going to all be there.
Oh, wow. Hold on a second. Well, that gets us into another story, but we'll do that in a sec. And so... You also explored a little bit of the sort of Mount Lewis rainforest area around the back of Cairns.
That's a bit of a secret.
That's a nice little spot, isn't it?
But
the number of times I've bloody been out there looking for
and you haven't
good spots.
Found it.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't found the mossy rocks.
I don't think so. No.
I'll have to show you.
Please, I'd love to.
It actually just opened. They close over the wet season. And
right.
The week I was going to Karijini is the week they were opening, so it'd be really nice up there. It's still raining on and off up
right,
there
okay.
a little bit. So
why is it that most photographers tend to run workshops, and we have a workshop up there in June, but why do they run it in the middle of the year? Why don't they run it over the wet season when it's cloudy and, you know, lush and what have you?
All depends what you want. Do you want rainforest or do you want reef and beach, you know? Because the coastline from Cairns to Port Douglas, I reckon, it's probably a bit biased, but it's probably better than the Great Ocean.
Yeah, it often gets compared to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got that lovely drive that goes...
You're closer to the beach and the water. And when you time it right and the tide's up high and it's a nice day and the swell's low and there's no wind, the water's just so blue, you know, for up there.
Yeah.
Normally it can get quite dirty.
And it's dirty in the wet season because there's a lot of water pouring into it from the rivers and stuff.
Estuaries and rivers.
So the dry season being the middle of the year is better.
Yeah,
for that.
Definitely.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And the wind tends to sort of drop off then as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
You're always looking for below 10 knots and.
Yep.
So.
And what about that lookout that's near? Is it Rex's Lookout? Is that the one up near Port Douglas that overlooks the?
Yeah, the one on the corner. Yeah. And it looks over the nice mountain range.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a nice little spot.
Yeah.
Definitely. You shot that before?
Not recently.
Right.
I sort of just go to Port Douglas and shoot sunrise. There's a couple of nice spots there.
Right. Okay. Is Port Douglas still as busy as ever, or?
Yeah.
You know, lots going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, there's a lot going on up in Cairns. There's an investor that's come in and developed a lot of land and building new high rises and bought the marina in Port Douglas. So.
Right. Doing another Scaife. You know, Christopher Scaife, he built Port Douglas.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, back in the early 80s.
Oh, right.
Spent millions up there. That's, you know, the Sheraton Mirage.
Yeah.
That was built by him.
I doubt that was probably changed since then.
Before your time.
Yeah.
You young whippersnapper.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, we alluded to it before about this whole, you know, sort of Instagram phenomenon, I guess you'd say. I mean, what are your thoughts on all of that? You have a lot of people obviously posting their work now on Instagram, Facebook, etc., and then everyone wants to go and shoot it as well. You probably don't have as much of that happening up in Cairns because you've got fewer photographers up there. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just not as popular, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some good photographers up there.
Yeah, of course.
But
are there? Do you have the case here where, you know, on a good day you can get, you know, 10, 20 people launching into the same spot?
I've never had that in Cairns.
Really? What, you get one person maybe, or not even?
Nah, one person.
One.
But yeah, it's always, you know, pretty quiet.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You can have a whole beach to yourself sometimes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the peninsula here this time of year, and also throughout the winter. You can spend, you know, all day down here and not see a single person if you pick the right sort of area, which is fantastic. Which we might get tonight. I'm just.
Well, the clouds are looking pretty good.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of cloud. I still want to take you down sort of.
I don't know where we're going yet.
London Bridge
sort of
and
jumped in the car and we're going somewhere.
What is the time? Because I can't look because
4:32.
4:32. Yeah. Okay. We might get there in the nick of time.
Yeah.
I want to take you to a spot down on the back beach there. What was I going to say? Who up in Cairns? I haven't been there for a number of years now. Of course, Peter Lik launched his signature gallery there in Shield Street back in 1998.
How do you remember that?
I think it was. Closed it a few years ago now, unfortunately. Would it be 10 years ago? Or maybe not that many.
No, probably longer.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a real shame. You saw that gallery, right?
Oh, I was only young then.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It was a beautiful.
I remember going. I think I remember going to his Port Douglas one.
Right.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the. Well, Noosa was the last to close only in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have a gallery in Cairns these days?
Not in Cairns. There was one fellow, Michael Seebeck.
Yep.
His gallery closed down because the complex that his gallery was in it's under renovations, and he was told to vacate.
Right.
So it was that.
Where was that?
That was right on the Esplanade.
Right.
It was like prime position.
Yep.
And Peter Java.
Yes.
Even though he's passed away, and they have a gallery in Coranda, but a few years ago they reopened in Cairns.
Yes.
Where he originally was.
Yeah, opposite Peter Lik's gallery in Shield Street.
Yeah.
He was across the road. You could literally walk from one to the other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he was there for a little while,
yep.
and that's now closed down as of only a couple of months ago. So.
Right, really, that's a shame.
Yeah, so there's only the Kuranda Gallery. And
yes.
That does pretty well, I think.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of tourists up there.
Yeah, right, but, okay. It's fantastic.
Currently, no one in Cairns has a gallery.
Right,
so
okay. There's no gallery in Cairns, so there's your opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because does it still get a lot of international tourists or not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And there's more flights, more direct flights from overseas, coming on board.
Yeah, right.
Yourself and, like from the Asian countries.
Yeah, the Japanese, for example, used to, because they get very little time off, how it was explained to me was that they used to fly into Cairns, direct from Japan, go and do the reef thing, fly down to Sydney, go and do the Sydney thing.
Oh, okay.
And then bugger off back home again.
Yeah.
Or if they had time, they'd go out to, the Rock as well and do that.
Yeah, you do see them big groups of them just like come in on a bus and take over for a bit and then they're gone.
And then they go, yeah, that's right. What was I going to say? So tell me, do you currently sell your work online at all?
You can buy online, but I don't.
What luck are you having with that?
Yeah, I'm not.
About as much as me.
There's no luck.
No.
I just don't have the traffic going to my website. Like my, what is it, search engine optimization?
Yeah,
that's
no good.
Up to shit.
Right. So. Tell me, do you prefer then, let's say you're 5 years' time and you're opening up the gallery in Cairns?
Yep.
Are you going to be selling open edition prints or limited edition prints? A mixture of both? You don't care?
Probably a mixture of both. I think, because I don't know. There is something special about some of the images you get of them really rare moments, I guess. So I'd like to sort of keep them that special.
So keep the limited editions for the more exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What do you think makes it exclusive in that regard? What's a rare moment for you? Have you got something that you could reflect on that, as an example?
Rare moment. I don't know. I guess I think at the moment you take the photo, you know it's going to be a rare moment because everything just lines up.
Right.
You just get them days where everything is just perfect.
Yep.
I've had a couple of sunrises.
That happens all the time, surely, for you.
I wish.
Yeah. Go on, you've had a couple of sunrises.
Yeah, a couple of sunrises that, everything's lined up and it's just been, magic.
Yeah.
You just got to be ready.
You keep hitting those same spots, yeah?
Yeah.
Because there's
just like any local spot.
Right, okay. And for those playing along at home, how often would you need to hit those spots in order to get a good shot?
12 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Cairns, like, you don't get good sunrises in Cairns very often because being so humid and, in the tropics, you always have that sort of band of cloud on the low down on the horizon, which stops a lot of the light coming up and reflecting on the clouds in the morning. That's where you get all your colour.
Yeah.
But there is the rare occasions where the clouds are right, and coming into winter now, it's sort of clearer mornings and stuff. So.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And you don't get sunsets in Cairns except for one little secret spot that I know of.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, of course, because you're facing east.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate here on the Mornington Peninsula to get sunrise and sunset over the water, and that can be all year round, summer and winter. And if the wind's blowing too strong from one end or one side, we can jump across the other, like we're doing now. So we're driving along the peninsula heading towards Portsea, and we've got the city to our right, which is to the north. We're currently driving west, of course. To the left of us, or to the south of us, is the Bass Strait. And so if you've got a howling southerly and you don't want to shoot into that, you can jump across the other side, and literally it can be a 10-minute drive. You go from one side to the other. You can be on the protected side of the bay on that side, and vice versa. If you've got the wind blowing out of the west, which is where the prevailing winds come from, you can jump over the other side and shoot onto Western Port Bay, which faces east. And again, you've got water and you've got jetties and all sorts of things, and you've got the protection over that side. And then if it all ends up going south, you can then jump into sort of more coastal tea tree and Greens Bush.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of photos here and tree shots.
Yeah,
in the fog.
In the fog and the mist. Yeah. Well, we've had some good fog and mist just these last week or so.
Yeah.
I just haven't been able to get my ass out of bed to go and shoot anything.
That's no excuse.
No excuse, but well, other than the fact that I've been travelling and need to probably spend a little bit of time at home, otherwise I'll end up with the locks changed. But you know, it's been really nice conditions to shoot down here recently. So you're down here. What do you hope to get while you're down here?
I really wanted some autumn colour, so
yeah.
I mean, there's that and jetties, jetty shots.
Seem to be a bit of a favourite of yours, aren't they?
Well, they just make for good photos.
They do make for good subjects
that everyone sort of can relate to, or
yes.
not just locals, or you know what I mean.
What is that? I think is it the people sort of like can easily put themselves into that photograph?
And that's something that I try to capture, something that everyone can relate to, because
yep.
I know, broader market, but there are them locally sort of shots, the
yep.
local market, I guess, but
yeah.
So
when you're shooting, are you thinking in terms of, or are you always thinking in terms of the commercial saleability of that photograph then?
Yeah, there's always that element,
yeah.
And that also determines where I go travelling to take photos as well.
Right. You travel mostly here in Australia, because you've done a little bit overseas as well.
I've done a little bit overseas, but I'd like to go back over now with a bit more knowledge and the gear I got now. And
yeah. So you feel
it's like that.
You've definitely grown in the last 5 years or so in terms of...
definitely. Or not even 5 years, 2 years, 12 months. Yeah.
Tell me what you think you've learned over the last 12 months that's made a critical leap from where you were 12 months ago to where you are now.
I don't know if I've actually learned more, but I think I've just been shooting a lot more, and shooting a lot more panoramics, and just getting out every morning and just continuous,
So I say to my workshop clients all the time that photography is all about just practicing.
Yeah,
you subscribe to that.
Yeah.
What is it that you think has, with the practice, etc. there, what is it that you're doing that has helped your photography improve? Is it you're seeing things differently, or is it you're raising the standard of what you shoot now?
I guess seeing things differently and finding stronger compositions.
Right.
That's a pretty key thing.
Right. Because I guess the progression for any artist is to sort of look back on their previous stuff, and some stuff they like, but most of it they won't.
Yeah.
Are you finding the same with your stuff?
Yeah. My older stuff.
But we tend to sort of raise the bar.
That's right.
As we continue on. Yeah.
And every photographer goes through that. I mean, you look at some of the greats, in their work back in their books, some of their books that they've done.
Yep.
And it's just pretty standard.
Yeah.
And what they're doing now is,
what is it?
10 times better.
Who are the photographers that you would admire? Present company excluded, of course. But are there some people that you follow closely at the moment?
I still follow Peter Lick, even though he's, going his different way or whatever. But it's working for him. But he still has the eye,
Of course.
And more local sort of scene. I really like Mark Gray's stuff. He's another local photographer here. I mean, there's heaps.
Yeah.
Even just like anyone on Instagram, like I still get ideas and stuff just from anyone's photos, you know?
Yeah. How do you determine where to go and shoot? Like, how do you research stuff? Is it mainly on Instagram?
Yeah, what I find helps a lot is you just look up the recent uploads for a certain location you're going to go to. Say you're visiting a waterfall or something, and you want to know how much water is flowing there. You can go on Instagram, type in that waterfall, look up the recent photos, see how much water's there. I mean, that's a good way, I reckon. And that's what I've done leading up to this trip, was just search a couple of like Dandenong ranges or something and just see what the colour of the trees were.
Yep.
Yeah.
Find stuff that way.
Yeah. So.
And how many followers now have you got on Instagram?
2000 and something.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. How long have you been pumping Instagram for then?
A few years now, but I'm probably not as engaged in it, or
right.
I'm not as regular as I probably should be.
Right. But do you tend to hashtag your stuff as well?
Yeah. Not crazy.
No.
Just specific hashtags.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Because there's a whole science behind that.
Yeah.
I don't really understand. It has people get a massive amount of following.
Yeah.
Probably more so in the past it does now than now. But
all you got to do is search on YouTube, and there's a million things how to grow your Instagram page. Or
yep. It does take dedication though, doesn't it? It really does take a concerted effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it depends if you're chasing that.
And you got to have the content. Like,
of course.
You can't.
Of course. Full stop.
And it's got to be good content.
Yeah. Exactly right.
And that's not the case with landscape photography. You can't have, unless you got a massive portfolio. But
isn't it amazing just the amount of good landscape photography there is out there?
Yeah.
It blows me away.
Yeah.
The amount of good content out there these days.
Oh yeah.
Mind you, a lot of it is post-produced.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, the content is there anyway, but it obviously has a little bit of jiggery-pokery in order to have it look amazing as it does. How much post-production work do you do to your shots?
I keep it fairly minimum. I mean, you got your basic. I do most of my stuff in Camera Raw pretty much, and then Photoshop is just your final touches. But I have just recently started getting into a bit of luminosity masking just to control my exposures a lot better.
Right.
And your dynamic range in your shots, and for them tricky situations. And I haven't mastered that.
Right.
It's that's another learning curve,
I reckon. Yeah, full on. All right. Well, it's been going for about half an hour because we've probably bored everybody who's watching.
Probably.
But maybe we should have been doing this as a Facebook Live even.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Not to worry. Well, thanks for the chat, Mitch.
No worries.
Just give everybody Mitchell Burns. You can find him on Facebook. Mitchell Burns
Gallery on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
And website's just mitchellburns.com.au.
mitchellburns.com.au.
I prefer him go to my website because the photos look better.
Okay. Go to his website. Follow him on the social. And thanks very much for the chat today.
No worries.
Thanks, Mitch. Cheers.